Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Vinayak here and I welcome you all for this webinar. Today we are going to present a session on MongoDB and HCL same time proxy, install, config and troubleshooting of the same. This webinar is hosted by HCL Software Digital Solutions Organization. Let me introduce the team. I am the facilitator. And with me, I have Sandeep Manchekar and Neeraj Jani, members from our support team as our speakers. We also have today our panel members, Raj, Ranjit, Rajiv, Shrikant, and Tony Payne. Please note this session is being recorded and all our participants would be on mute throughout this session. For any questions, clarifications, please feel free to post them on the chat section and our panelists would be more than happy to respond to them. For everyone's reference, we have uploaded the presentation in the handout section. Once again, a warm welcome to you all. And now I would be handing it over to Sandeep. Over to you, Sandeep.
Hey, thanks, Vinayak. Very good morning and good afternoon to all of you. And thank you for joining today's session. Myself, Sandeep, along with Mr. Neeraj, and today we'll be presenting the session on MongoDB and same-time proxy server. So this webinar is a continuation series to our existing webinar, Community Server V11. And today we will discuss in detail about MongoDB and proxy server. So here is our agenda for today's session. We'll start with overview of MongoDB, followed by prerequisites, hardware and software requirements. Then we will see installation and configuration for MongoDB and proxy server. Moving on, we will quickly see few slides on same time on mobile, overview and look and feel. Then we will discuss on logging and debugging for MongoDB and proxy server. And to finish with, we will see some commonly faced issues on MongoDB and proxy server. We have added few important links in between and at the end of the presentation. So these links will be certainly helpful for daily administration. And last, the session will be open for a question and answers. So quickly moving to our first slide. The architecture diagram. So understanding the topology diagram is key to master any application. So let's quickly run through our architecture diagram for same time 11.5. So in same time 11, we were having only three components: community server, proxy server, and MongoDB. But now in 11.5, there is an addition of this meeting server. This meeting server is Docker-based component and hosted on Linux box. So let's understand the meeting server workflow. So these are the browser and mobile clients connect to meeting server over port 443. And then this meeting server connects to same time proxy, and then proxy server connects to community server. Meeting server connects to MongoDB over port 27017. And this connection is required to store the data for created and reserved rooms. The users are authenticated from same time proxy and community server API. So this was for meeting. Now let's understand the flow for community and proxy server. So you can note these are the embedded and standalone clients which connects to community server over port 1533. Then community connects to proxy over port 1516 for proxy awareness. So these are the web and mobile clients which connects to proxy server over port 443 and establish the connection with community server over port 1516. So this community component and proxy component connects to MongoDB over port 27017. And this connection is required to store persistent chat, mobile push notification data. The key aspect of this architecture, when you configure the Domino, make sure you use fully qualified host names. We request do not use short name and IP address, because as we all know, this web SSO will only work when it is accessed over FQDN. It will be difficult for same time server to create SSO document if you use short name or IP address. So if there is an issue in web SSO, then the connection between community and proxy will be surely impacted. Moving to the next slide. So in this slide, we'll discuss about the key aspects of the MongoDB. The first is why MongoDB. So these mentioned features extensively supports the architecture of same-time components. So it has a flexible schema, automaticity of write operations, multi-document transaction in single operation, and the last but not the least is the open source DB, and it's free to use, so that it's cost effective. So particularly in layman language, why we use MongoDB? So to store the persistent chat, storing the reserve meeting rooms, and storing the mobile push notifications. The next is how long the data is stored in MongoDB. So there is a setting called time to live. So this setting is defined in chat-logging.ini. So these settings define how long the chat history will be stored in the database. The default is 90 days and it's configurable. So in later part of the presentation, we'll see how to update this configuration. Moving on, can I install MongoDB on community server? Yes. So MongoDB can reside on community server, but for larger and enterprise deployments, we always recommend our customers to use a dedicated server. So just remember, if you're hosting a dedicated server for MongoDB, then make sure that its FQDN is traceable from community and proxy server. So in later slides, we will see that issue that all emerges due to improper configuration and how to overcome such situations. Moving to the next slide. So what will happen if MongoDB is not available for community and proxy? So let's consider if you have enabled persistent chat feature and due to any mishap, MongoDB becomes unavailable. So then chat functionality will not work. And apart from that, your meeting functionality will be impacted because all the data related to chat logging, meetings rooms are stored in MongoDB. Moving on, can we use persistent chat in place of chat logging compliance? Actually, the main intention and main feature of persistent chat is giving the seamless and chat flow across all of your device. So whether you can use it from desktop, web, or mobile device. Actually, it is not intended for logging compliance. So, and apart from that, if you see, this data is stored in a database and not in a text readable format. And the last is, does MongoDB required for same-time meeting server? The answer is yes. Meeting server requires MongoDB for storing the created and reserved meeting rooms. You can either choose existing MongoDB or you can have your own separate MongoDB server. The data used by meeting server and community server is completely different and independent. Moving to the next slide. The prerequisite hardware and software requirements. So this is a pretty self-explanatory slide. So you can note this table shown on the screen for your reference. So this table completely contains the specification for MongoDB 3.6 and 4.2. So you can install MongoDB on Windows 10, 2K16 and 2K19. But you can install it on RHEL 6.2 and above. MongoDB 4.2 can be installed on both SUSE 12 and SUSE 15, but 3.6 can't be deployed on SUSE 15. Moving to the next slide. So in this slide, we'll cover the installation of MongoDB on Windows and Linux platform. So before we move ahead with the installation, we'd like to mention that MongoDB 3.6 is supported, but we always recommend our customers to use the latest version, that MongoDB 4.2 for same time 11.5. So let's quickly start with the installation part. The installation is pretty easy. For Windows, you just have to download the package. So we have mentioned the link over here. So follow just simple GUI mode. While installation, you just have to make sure that you should run this service MongoDB as a Windows service and run service as a network service user. Now the installation of Compass is optional in 4.2. And once you finish with the installation, you have to make sure to restart the server once. Post restart, you will find that MongoDB is running as a service in automatic mode. And coming back to for Linux, you have to just create a repository file for yum to install the MongoDB. But while saving the repository file, if you receive an error that can't open the file for writing, so that clearly indicates that you are not logged in as a root user. So just log in with the root, save the file, and execute the yum. So it will ask you for details and confirmation. Just press yes and finish the installation. You can note the final output shown in image here. So this is the final output what we'll receive post installation is completed. So that's it with the installation part. In coming slide, we'll see the configuration for MongoDB for Windows and Linux platform. Moving to the next slide. So if you see, the configuration steps are almost identical for both the OS. The only difference is how we start and stop the server for Mongo console. So let's quickly see the configuration steps. The first is start your MongoDB server as a service and initiate the Mongo console. You can note that we have mentioned the path on the screen for starting the Mongo console. This is the standard path. Now, using the command displayed on the screen, create a user called same time user. So when you run this command, along with the user creation, this command also create 3 individual DBs with read and write access. And in the next step, now we will create a collections for chat login database. So just follow these commands mentioned on the screen and create the collection. The collections names are events and sessions. And the most important key point to note in both the steps that the mentioned commands are separate and case sensitive. So just refer this image to confirm the output for every command. Now, once you are done with the steps, exit the MongoDB console and exit from the MongoDB server. In the coming step, we'll see how to make configuration changes in mongodb.cfg file. See, just path is mentioned over this slide. Just access the file and edit it. Moving to the next slide. So this is one of the important stage of the configuration. Now, while you're in edit mode, remove the hash sign against the replication section and add REPL setname /RS0 under it. And under network interface, just add bind IP all :true. So as per our past experience, we can say that most of the mistakes are happen at this stage only. So when you're adding REPL setname and bind IP parameter, make sure to give a double space before the parameter. There should not be any trailing spaces after the parameter. So please mind it, this is the double space, not the tab key. Now, once you add this parameter, save the config file and make sure you save this file as .cfg extension. If it gets saved as .txt, then configuration will be impacted. So we suggest to use Restex editors for storing the and saving the file. So now start the server and Mongo console. So now we have entered into Mongo console. So once you are it, just initiate the replica set command and you should get the following output on the screen. The expected output is rs:secondary or rs:other. Now hit one more enter and you should receive an output rs0:primary. If you get this output, your config is successful. Now we can review this configuration by giving the console commands rs.conf and rs.status. But if you did not get this output, then certainly there is a mistake in config file. So you should review the file and make the necessary changes. Now let's exit from the console. The next step will be enabling the security for MongoDB. So although it is not must to have this security enabled, but being a security perspective, we always recommend our customers to enable the security. So just edit the MongoDB file and update the values as shown on the screen. Now, once you enable the security, a user can access only that database resources and action for which they have been granted the privilege. But in the absence of security, any user can access any database. So it is good to have the security over the database. So that's it, the community and proxy perspective. In the next slide, we'll see the configuration for a same time meeting. So moving to the next slide. So in this slide, we'll see the configuration of MongoDB for meeting server. So same time meeting 11.5 requires MongoDB for creation and receive meeting rooms. We see this in the architecture diagram part. So meeting server can use either existing MongoDB, which is used by same time community and proxy, or you can have your new independent MongoDB. So when you install the meeting server, it automatically creates this meeting database. So now suppose if you're enabling existing MongoDB for the same time meeting, then same time user profile requires the authority to the meeting database. But if you'll be having a new MongoDB for your meeting server, then create the same time user profile with authority to the meeting database. So for both these options, we have mentioned the commands on the screen. At the end of this slide, we have attached few links over the. So you can mention this is the product documentation links for installation and configuration. So product team takes a lot of efforts to keeping them updated with any recent changes. So do not forget to refer them. Now in coming slide, we'll see a key takeaways for MongoDB installation and configuration part. Moving to the next slide. So these are the key points we should note for the installation of MongoDB and configuration. The first is MongoDB 3.6 is supported, but we do recommend the use of 4.2 for same time 11.5. While you're on Windows, run MongoDB as service and run it as a network service user. Moving to, if you're on Linux, root user privilege is must for installation configuration. All the commands for configuration are case sensitive and any wrong character may lead to an issue. The next is one of the important part, that is configuring the MongoDB file. As we've seen in earlier slide, whenever you add a parameter, the double spaces are used. Don't ever use tab key. It is a double space. And there should not be a trailing space after the parameters. And once you're done with this, initiation of a replica set, and you should get the output as shown on the screen, rs:0 secondary and rs:other. If it is not there, there is certainly glitch in the config. Now, how to verify the configuration? Just issue the command rsconf and check what the value for the host parameter. There are a number of parameters shown on the rsconf, but the most relevant is host parameter. So in the event, if DB is hosted on a different server, then the valued FQDN should be put in the config file. And that particular FQDN should be traceable by the community and proxy server. And if you're using meeting server, then it is must to put FQDN in the Mongo file, because this meeting server is completely hosted in the different Linux box. So it may find it difficult to connect to MongoDB. So we always recommend our customers to avoid using localhost or 127.0.0.1 entry. The second last option is security. As a default, security is not enabled. It is not must to have, but surely good to have, because this will control the usage. And the last, not to forget to update the time to live settings. So you can mention it as per your preference. The higher the value, the more time it will take to load the chat. So just consider your part. Moving to the next slide. So in this slide, we'll see installation of proxy server. For Linux and Windows, steps are almost identical. So it is a very, very simple method. Just a zip file, just put it on the local drive, extract it and run the install.bat for Windows and install.sh for Linux. So as shown on the screen, it will ask you for basic details about community and MongoDB servers. So just put the details. Then further it will ask you for the LDAP server details. If you don't have it, just keep it and leave it blank. Now, once you finish with the installation, it will create some necessary files along with the self-signed certificate for the proxy server. So that's it. The installation is done. And these URLs are the standard URLs that you can use for same time proxy server. In the next slide, we'll see configuration of proxy server. Moving to the next slide. Configuration. So basis to the installation we seen in the last slide, below the three files will be updated. Please refer the sample screenshot attached on the screen. Now to start and stop, you can use startup.bat and shutdown.bat. And you can find this file in same-time proxy/bin folder. Now let's come to the most important part, that if your proxy server is hosted on different hardware than the community server, then you should add its IP address in the trusted IPs list of the community server's stconfig.nsf. And if your MongoDB is already hosted on different Windows server, then add its FQDN with its IP address in proxy server's host file. Even you can better manage this via DNS server. Moving to the next slide. So in this slide, we'll see enabling SSO and securing the proxy server. So whenever you install a community server, SSO config is automatically created. So there are two ways of using WebSSO. First, via server document or via internet site document. If you're using internet sites, then ST token type and ST org name should be properly updated in sametime.ini. Then from security point of view, we always recommend our customers to use third-party certificates when you will be configuring the mobile devices in your infrastructure. You may face an issue while configuring the devices if you are using self-signed certificates. So it's better to use third-party certificates. Even we recommend our customers to update the port values to AP and 443 from earlier 8080 and 8443. So you can update this value in server.xml file, and this file is located in conf subfolder. And last, please make sure to update the SSL protocol to TLS 1.2 from earlier TLS. So TLS 1.2 is the latest and more secure in today's time. So that's it from the installation and configuration side. The further part of the presentation will be handled by my colleague Neeraj. Over to you, Neeraj.
Thank you, Sandeep. Shall we go to the next slide, please? So Sandeep, that was quite comprehensive and detailed. So I'm sure that it will help our customers to deploy same time components effectively in their environment. So moving further with the rest of the agenda, in current and upcoming few slides, we will discuss about HCL mobile application and its look and feel on mobile devices. So let's start that. So as you can see here in this slide, we support both Android as well as iOS platform for same time mobile application. For Android devices, we support Android 6 and above, and for iOS, we support iOS 13 and above. And for both the platforms, latest version is 11.5.1 that you can download from respective Play stores. So in this latest version, we have added a support for same time meetings, which is our recent addition to same time family. And now you can use meeting capabilities from mobile device also. To use meeting capabilities from mobile devices, it is important that you have a working meeting server deployed in your environment. So once you have meeting server configured in your environment and working fine, you will see a new My Meetings tab in same time application in mobile device. So we will see that in upcoming slides about how it looks and feels in the mobile device. And so basically you can say that starting a meeting is just a click away from an ongoing chat now. We also introduced support for dynamic fonts for iOS now in the latest version of this mobile application. Move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So in this and next two slides, we are going to discuss about basic introduction and general look and feel for HCL same time mobile application. So these are the captures I have taken from an Android device. So there are slight changes in look and feel for iOS. However, the functionality remains the same. As you can see here on the slide, when you open the application on the mobile, it will show you the login screen where you can just enter necessary details like username, password, and community server details and login. So there, once you log into the application, you will land to the next screen, which is a chat screen. So in this particular screen, you can see all your active chats that you can, and you can also start a new chat from your mobile device itself here itself. So as you see here, whatever chats you start from your computer will be visible here, and whatever chats you start from your mobile device will be seen on your computer. So it's kind of a vice versa. So this is all due to the persistent chat functionality that we have achieved via using MongoDB. So this is a main menu with different menu options as shown here in the slide. So you can switch to any of them at any time. From same time, about same time option or menu, you can see the application version, build details, your device details, and the company information, company copyright information. Next slide, please. Here is how your meetings will look on the mobile device, where you can just get an option to create a new meeting, or you can also see your saved or recent meetings in the mobile device itself. So while creating a new meeting, you can create a meeting with password. You can also create a moderated meeting so that you or your other designated moderators can start the meeting. You can also choose whether to allow users to join as a guest or not in this particular meeting. So there are different application settings you can make if you wish to, as shown on the screen. So you can use your, you can keep your username and password saved as a settings. You can also make settings related to audio video for meetings. You can also choose how do you want your notifications to appear in your mobile device. And from the troubleshooting section, you can select enable logging for mobile devices, which is by default enabled. Move to the next slide, please. This slide is all about help and support. Help and support is one of the very important menu item which is available in the mobile application. So as you can see, there are different items under the help and support. So if you click on HCL, same time help, it will take you to the documentation for mobile at same time application based on your OS platform. So if you are using Android, it will take you to the Android documentation, and if you are using iOS, then it will take you to the iOS documentation. By clicking on report a problem, it will automatically prepare a zip file from the mobile logs itself, and it will give you an option to share the same via available applications in your mobile device. And you can even view the logs from mobile for any ongoing issues or any issues you face while working with the mobile application. And you can also send logs directly from here to like in any email. You can email the logs from here itself. So these are the basic look and feel about same time mobile application. And yeah, this is where you can just install and explore further. Move to the next slide, please. This slide basically talks about enabling logging or traces and collecting logs from each same time components when you run into any problems while working with same time. So we have not covered a log review or troubleshooting in depth here. However, here is what you can just collect and submit to support for further review and investigation on your ongoing issues. So you can say that it is just a summary of log collection. So what logs to be collected from each of the components? So from same time community server, you can enable VP trace all under debug section of the INI file, same time.ini file. Simply restart the server and reproduce the problem. Then collect same time diagnostics information using stdiag utility, which is available in the Domino directory or Domino folder, and submit those logs to support. Stdiag will collect all the other information like stproxy, same time.ini or chatlogging.ini, which we might need to review for some issues related to MongoDB. So from MongoDB, you can collect the mongod.conf file to check the configuration details related to MongoDB, logs directory from the MongoDB, and one of the important thing is the output of rsconf command to understand the replica set configuration. So particularly to review FQDN details for MongoDB, since we have noticed there are several issues that you may encounter if this is not set correctly. So we'll see some of the issues in the upcoming slides. Similarly, from the proxy server, you can enable logging in the logging.properties file. I mean, you don't need to add any parameters over there. It's already there. So once you open the logging.properties file, you just need to uncomment 2 lines. We have a very good article on that you can further explore and check. So once the logging is enabled, restart the proxy server, reproduce the problem, and collect the logs directory. You can also collect stproxyconfig.xml as well as dbconfig.properties file from proxy server, which will help us to understand the proxy server configuration. And from the mobile device, you can collect device logs for any application specific issues while working with the mobile application, as we have seen in earlier slides, troubleshooting and help and support section. So these are the basic logs that you can anytime collect and submit to support for any ongoing issues with the same time components. Move to the next slide, please. So in this and upcoming few slides, we will discuss some of the most commonly faced issues and some basic requirements that we receive from customers, and we do also receive support cases on that. So we just thought to include that in this our presentation so that it will be really helpful to all of you as a ready reference. So let's go through one by one. So here is the first one. So basically there are 3 different issues as listed here. First is user gets blank chats in web. While doing a chat, you don't see the responses done by this sender or receiver. So you see the blank chats. The other issue can be like users cannot log into same time application on mobile. It takes longer than the usual to log in, or sometimes it goes into the loop and you never able to log into the application on mobile device. Sometimes persistent chat history doesn't load in client. So that is the third issue, that the persistent chat history doesn't load in client, web, or any mobile devices. So all these issues or problems are due to one of the common reason, and that points to the incorrect MongoDB hostname in replica set configuration. So my colleague also discussed about this in earlier slides. You may also notice the error message timed out after 30,000 milliseconds is seen in this particular slide, wherein you can check the MongoDB host information, which is mostly either a local host or localhost IP address. So in this situation, if you try to connect from your community or proxy server, you won't be able to make a connection to MongoDB, and that's the problem. So that you are running into these problems, the issues. So basically, you may deploy ST community proxy or MongoDB in same system. However, same time meeting server will always be in a different system, and hence it is kind of a must requirement to have MongoDB hostname updated correctly in replica set configuration. So here is how you can update it using MongoDB commands. So remember that everything is commands in MongoDB, and all commands are very much case sensitive. So if the command is not given correctly, it will always fail. So as you can see that, first of all, switch to admin using use admin command from Mongo shell or Mongo command prompt. Move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So here you can see that, first of all, you need to see replica set configuration using rs.conf command to review replica set configuration. And notice the host name as seen in the screenshot. In most cases, it would be localhost or IP address or localhost IP address. So you can update the host name using the commands given on the slide. And these commands won't give you any output as far as commands are correct and accepted. So these are the commands: cfg is equal to rsconf. This will start the configuration for replica set. Then the next command is cfg members 0 host is equal to the exit fqdn of your MongoDB colon the port number for MongoDB, and this is the exit fqdn you have to update here. Then the next command is rs.reconfig cfg. This will save the replica set configuration. So once this is all done, you can simply give rs.conf command and validate the fqdn whether it is updated correctly or not. So you can see that in the slide, next screenshot, where the fqdn is correctly updated. So this should address all the reported issues which are listed in the previous slide. Thank you. So we'll talk about the current slide. This particular slide is all about how to update time to live or TTL in MongoDB. So as my colleague Sandeep discussed in earlier slides, time to live is all about how long you want to store your persistent chat history in MongoDB. So yeah, its default value is 90 days. So you can modify it in desired value, to your desired value if you wish to. But however, just keep in mind that if you increase the number to higher value, it may take time. It may take time to load the persistent chat history in chat windows. So it is advisable that you keep the value as default or lower than what is 90 days to have a smooth persistent chat loading functionality in your chat windows. So we'll see how you can do that in this particular slide. So first of all, make sure your all community server is shut down. Then open the chat logging.ini file, which has different parameters related to MongoDB. You need to look for CL Mongo history TTL and set it to your desired value. Then save and close this file. And once the value is updated, it is important that you recreate time to live index in MongoDB. If this is not done, then your desired value won't take effect. So that step is still pending. So even earlier version or even in current version, if you have MongoDB Compass, you can use that also. But we will use commands here to do the same since Compass is optional now. So considering that there is no Compass, you have to run these commands as shown in this slide. First of all, use this command, use chat logging to switch to chat logging collection. Now give this particular command db.events.getIndexes to see the current index information, and index name should be timestamp_1 for TTL. So you can just note the capital for caps and small letters for the index name. That should be timestamp_1. Move to the next slide, please. So in the next slide, we will see how to update that. So here you can see that you have to run again the command db events drop index, and you need to use the exact index name which has been found in the previous command output. So the index name is timestamp_1 into the quotes, and this will delete or drop this index. So once this command is accepted successfully, the index will be deleted and you won't see it in the output. So now to recreate it, you just start the community server, and once the community server is started, the TTL index will be recreated. And once it is recreated, you can again issue the command db events get indexes to see the updated index table, and newly created index will appear at the bottom of the index table since you just created now. So you can see in the screen that index is updated now and back to the index table, and this will update your time to live value in the MongoDB configuration. So remember, one thing to note, I just recently had a case from one of the customers that they wanted to clear the MongoDB chat history, and they were thinking that that can be done using CL Mongo history TTL is equal to 0. If we set it to 0, that should create the history. But remember, it doesn't do that. And instead of that, it does the exactly opposite. If you set the parameter with 0, it will save the persistent chat history to unlimited. So it is not going to serve your purpose. Hence it is very important to be very careful while playing with this particular parameter. So overall, as a conclusion, you can increase or decrease the storage time, or you can completely turn off the persistent chat history in MongoDB. And this is how you can control storage of persistent chat history in MongoDB. Move to the next slide, please. So this particular issue is about authentication is getting failed for same time user in MongoDB. And you will see the error in logs as shown in this slide. And this is mostly because of the username or password is changed without maintaining the case sensitivity. You can notice the username in error message. If you have referred the documentation for creating user, the name of user is same time user where U is capital. And here in the error message, you can see that U is not capital. And this is why you are running into this error. MongoDB will always consider it as a different user and won't authenticate the user. So you can fix it by updating correct username and password for the user. So how to do that? First of all, give the command show users, which will tell you the exact username saved in the MongoDB. So you can see the output on the slide, and you can note the username. If you can see that it's same time user where U is the capital one. Move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So now open the chatlogging.ini file and comment out line starting with CL Mongo auth ID parameter, which generally stores the user authentication details. And once that is done, you need to update CL Mongo user and CL Mongo password as per the show users command output, which we have seen in the previous slide. And remember to update the username correctly with proper cases. Just save and close this file, and this will need an OS level restart, so that once the OS is restarted, your MongoDB service will start automatically and authentication will be successful. So you may also see the successful authentication message in the logs. Here is the message in the slide you can see in the logs if you go and check the logs. Move to the next slide, please. Sorry. And this particular slide, again, it's not a issue, but it is more of a requirement. If you have a need to change MongoDB username or password, then this slide exactly describes the requirement. And once you update the username and password in MongoDB, you also need to update MongoDB username and password or new username and password in all other same time components. So we will see these things in this particular slide and the next slide. So while performing this activity, it is advisable to keep all same time components shut down. And once all the components are shut down, you have to use the commands to update MongoDB username and password. So to change the change the password, you have to use db.change user password as shown on the slide. Same time user is the username and new password is the password that you want to set to. So here you can see in the example, the new password is PISSW0RD. So this will update the password, and if it won't give you any result or it won't return with any result, that means the command has been run successfully. And similarly, you can change the username with this command db system users update user is equal to current username and $set user is equal to new username. So in this first section, it is current username, and the next section will be the new username that you want to set to. And it is very important, or make sure to use quotes, comma, as well as brackets very carefully in this particular command, because there are so many like brackets or parentheses, comma, and quotes. So you need to be very careful. Unless the command is correct, it will keep giving you the error message. And if the command is accepted and successful, you will see the output as shown in this slide saying modified is ::1. And this will change or update username and password in the MongoDB. So move to the next slide, where we will see what all places to update in the same time components. So once you have updated your username and password via commands in MongoDB, it is time to update username and password in the same time components. For community server, open the chatlogging.ini and update new username and password in these parameters: CL Mongo user, CL Mongo password. For proxy server, the same needs to be done in dbconfig.properties. You open the dbconfig.properties file and update Mongo user and Mongo password with the new user and new password. And for the meeting server, you will need to update this particular line under the custom.env file. Located this particular file, custom.env, will be located at the installation directory of same time meeting server. So this line needs to be updated with new username and password for MongoDB user. And once you update the new username and password in each of the same time components, you can restart each server and confirm that everything is working as expected. Each server should be able to connect and resolve MongoDB over FQDN as well as IP address. So this is how you can update username and password and update all components with new username and password details. Move to the next slide, please. This slide describes most generic issue that users face while logging to ST web client. So you users might have seen this error message while logging to browsers, like logging to ST web client in the browser, like chat is temporarily unavailable. And there are like different reasons for this particular error message. So if you have configured and done everything correctly, you won't run into this error. But if you are running into this error, let us just see what all possible reasons for the error message. So one of the most common reason is if the same time server or same time proxy server is not running. So just check and confirm that proxy server service is up and running. If it is not running, then you will see the exit error message. So once it is running and still you are noticing this error message, then look or explore the other options which are listed here. So make sure that community server FQDN is correctly updated in server document, ports, nodes, network ports, net address, and ideally this should be updated correctly if you have configured your Domino server and you have updated it while configuring the Domino server. So if it is not done, you just go ahead and do this change, update FQDN for your community server correctly, save and close the server document and restart the community server port change to take effect. After doing that, also you are noticing the error, then look for the WebSSO configuration. So as Sandeep has mentioned in one of the slides earlier that you can load configuration either from server document or from internet sites. So if you are loading your configuration from server document, just make sure that your organization field is kept empty. If it is having the value, then it may not work properly and it will run into the problem. So, and if you are loading your configuration from internet sites, you should have these parameters st token type, st org name updated with correct details of particular WebSSO token name and org name or organization name under the same time.ini file. And once this is done and still the problem is there, just go and check whether DNS domain is updated in the WebSSO configuration document or not. So if all things are checked in WebSSO configuration and still you are noticing the error, just go and see whether your HTTP task is loading properly on the community server or not. If it is not loading, just go through the logs, refer the error message, troubleshoot and fix that. Sometimes you also see this particular issue if you have added VPS allowed login types in sametime.ini file to allow only listed types of clients to connect to the server. So by default this parameter is not present, and it is good that you don't add it so that such issues don't appear until unless you really require this parameter to be added. And most importantly, your same time proxy server and same time community server should be able to connect each other and should be able to resolve each other over FQDN as well as IP address. So these are the basic common reasons why you run into this particular problem. Move to the next slide, please. Here we have included some of the important links to same time documentation and some important articles that you may always use as a references. We have also added some of the links in the slides which you can also refer if you have the presentation handy. We have tried our level best to streamline our documentation, and we have made it very easy and simple now with step-by-step installation and configuration details. So we hope that it would be really helpful to all our customers to deploy same time components in their environment very easily. So with that, we would like to conclude the technical discussion here, and now we will open up for the question and answer sessions. So over to you, Vinayak.
Hey, thank you, Neeraj and Sandeep. I would now request our panelists to go over the questions which have been posted on the chat. And I would also request our participants that meanwhile, during the Q&A, appreciate if you could just respond to the poll questions, which you will be seeing on the screen. Thank you. And please feel free to post questions now as well.
There is one question, Sandeep and Neeraj. Is it mandatory to update the index of MongoDB after changing TTL string?
Thank you, Ranjit. Yeah, it is really important to update the TTL index. So, I mean, as I mentioned in the slide earlier, you can use, I mean, you should drop the current index, and then upon startup of community server, it creates the new TTL value. So yeah, it is important and mandatory to update the TTL index.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks once again, and see you soon again for our next upcoming webinar. Thank you.